Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Soft Power Project. Today, I wanted to participate in this trend that's going around on social media talking about how 2026 is the new 2016 and everyone is sharing their photos back then in 2016. So I got curious and I went down the memory lane, and honestly, it was really hard for me to look back because I knew 2016 was not a good year for me, but I did it anyway. So I went into my photo album and yeah, I found zero selfies because I didn't even think about me. Me, like Sherry, was not even in a picture in my life back then. So it was a very interesting ride. And today's episode, you're going to hear a little bit of some stories that I've never shared before. I also wanted to share with you guys just how amazing it is to look back, even though it can be quite difficult, especially if you're going through this transformation. And as you know, going through transformation, the past can be quite unpleasant, right? You wanted to make a change because it was unpleasant, you were not happy. You wanted to feel the joy again. You wanted to feel the spark. You wanted to go back to yourself. And 2016 was like the height of my people pleasing journey. And it was the year where I definitely held so much inside of me, where I was like a walking, ticking time bomb. Like I said, I had no selfie. I was not a main character in my life. I did not even exist in my life. All I was doing was just to play a role as a stay-home mom, helping my mom, everyone around me to be happy and to have a peaceful, effective life. I'm constantly in the role of providing solutions. When my daughter's sick, I had to make sure she gets well. And when my grandmother doesn't feel well, I had to make sure my mom get all the support that she need to get my grandmother feeling well. Then I was constantly acting as someone to solve everyone's problem. When my parents are not happy with each other, I'm the one that go to both sides and make sure to mediate and everything. So that was me. That was me in 2016. And to the point, like I said, it was a ticking time bomb. I was I was suppressing so much inside of me that I couldn't even see all the red flags. I remember specifically every weekend I would actually take my daughter, drove her and take her to my grandmother's. And then that's how I spend my weekend. I did not have a social life. Zero. Because I was told, as you're a mom, having young kids, you're not supposed to have a social life. There's no your life. Your life is their life. So I would do every single weekend. And I remember there's one time I dropped my daughter off at my mom so that she can just watch her for a little bit while I get the stuff out of my car, transport that into the elevator, and then going into the house. So I was kind of doing all of that back and forth. And I think I was so pissed and so angry and just so sick and tired of that life. I remember I went into this elevator and the elevator door closed really quickly and it hit my shoulder. And again, I did not get hurt or anything, but it triggers me to the point where I start kicking the elevator door. I didn't damage anything, but I definitely kicked the elevator door because I was so pissed. I remember that's because the security guard saw it. Obviously, you would see like the security camera, right, in the elevator. And he asked my mom, what happened to Sherry? What's going on with her? And I remember she asked me, this is like, hey, he asked me, what's wrong with you? And I told her, oh, I kind of brushed it off because I was so ashamed. I was I feel so embarrassed that anyone saw me. I was like, oh no, I just got annoyed. She didn't ask me any more questions, so I just kind of brushed it off and thought I'd moved on. But in retrospect, I think because I was just so incredibly angry with everything while trying to look as peaceful and put together as possible, I was, yeah, walking around like a time bomb. And I remember kind of just me trying to navigate my life during that time with a very detached viewpoint in a way that whenever I was alone, like washing dishes or going to the bathroom, I would immediately jump into a world of my imaginary world so I could feel more alive again. I mean, this is honestly a little embarrassed to talk about. I talked about it in my therapy session where that's how I cope with my reality at the time by not facing the reality. I was so unhappy, but I was so scared to the point where I did not think I would ask for help or talk about how unhappy I was. I really had to walk into my imaginary world. And that's how I coped for many years. And I mean, that did not really, because no one knew and I hid it so well. So I didn't think it was a problem. But again, looking back, my goodness, that was a very dangerous coping mechanism. And while, mentally, emotionally, that was going on, I remember at the end of 2016, I took my daughter to go abroad for the first time to visit my ex. He was working abroad. And I had to like sort out everything, packing, visa, everything on my own. It was really stressful. Like taking a toddler to a different country, especially during winter time, it's extremely stressful. And my parents were not very pleased with me leaving the country. That's another story for another day. So I had to like really held everything together and put together and make sure that I look like what I'm doing. So I was really, really stressed out. I caught a cold and it took a long time to even recover. And the day I left for the trip, I found that there was this giant pimple above my eyebrows, my right eyebrows. And I obviously I didn't think much of it. I thought it was a pimple, those hormonal ones, that it would go away eventually. And I would put I mean, at the time, I don't think there was pimple patch even back then, but I would put, those creams or whatever that you put on the pimples so that it would go down, and nothing worked. And I was already abroad at the time. So like having access to doctor was not like, it's just an inconvenience, right? And I didn't think about it, but eventually I found out that was not a pimple. It was what it's called herpes zoster around your eyes. Now, if you had it, you got to get treated immediately. It's something that would even impair your vision because it's right around your eyes and it damaged kind of the nerve around your eyes. It's something you have to get treated right away. But I was abroad. I didn't even ask for help. I was like, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. But I was so scared inside. But all I remember was like days of me just trying to get my daughter, like running errands and going to bank and do all these things that I was supposed to do. I think it was like day 4 that I asked my ex at the time, it was like, hey, I need help. Do you know anyone that know any doctors in the area? I need help. Because every time you blink, you feel like there's needle literally stabbing into your eyeballs. Finally got help, and all the bumps like on my scalp and everything finally starting to go away. But my eyes were definitely impaired at the time. After I came back to Taiwan, it took me about 2-3 months to actually just to see properly. So I think I still have a bit of a trauma around that. And just to show you how because of my emotional and mental state and how I was, my immune system was weakened, I was in a bad state mentally and physically and emotionally. I think then I started to see that, oh, things really need to change. And 2017, 2018 I started to kind of like get the sense of like, I need a change. I need a change. But it wasn't easy. And I remember I was praying every single day for years that I want a change. I didn't even know what the change would even look like. I had no idea because I was like a stay-home mom. I had no career aspiration. I did not know like what I could do as a mom because I was told, you're a mom, that's it. Like you can't have any aspiration at all. But I knew I needed a change. And I just wanted you to know that when you want a change and you don't even know what it is, things are shifting for you. The universe is making things happening for you. And I think by 2018, I was so fed up that I finally saw all these things like physically I was not well, that I started to take action. And what that action looks like, it looks more like a pattern interruption more than anything. It wasn't like, oh, I feel brave. No, I felt like I was destroying everything that I built. I felt like I was destroying everyone else's life. I asked my ex this question, are you happy? One day, it was in a restaurant, out of the blue, I just asked him. He looked so surprised. He's like, yeah, I'm happy. What are you talking about? And I was really, then and there, I started to engage in these like uncomfortable conversation because I was so scared to even bring it up. I just didn't even felt the energy to even talk about it. But it was then I started to align my action with what I wanted, this big change. And I got divorced in 2018. That was a year I started my business. And let me tell you, once you start aligning your action with what you really wanted, you have no idea what that change may even look like because I built my business. I started to get training cases. I was a trainer for a very long time. I even got into personal styling for a little bit and I built podcasts and online courses. And I thought that was it. I thought I would be selling online courses forever. Language teaching is going to be my thing. But I kept pivoting and pivoting because I knew I wanted to do more. There's more for me. And eventually got into consulting and doing branding. And I think I am still pivoting. I'm still building, not from scratch, but from all the experience that I had and accumulate. So I just wanted you guys to know that if you feel stuck, if you feel like you don't know exactly what the change is going to be and you don't know how to move on, just start with the simple prayers. Whatever you believed in, it could be universe, God, and it could be Buddha. Just start praying. And once you feel brave enough, you can start to disrupt that pattern. And that pattern, yeah, it's gonna be uncomfortable for everyone. But just make sure that you continue to do so because everything will change. I mean, just looking at how much I have changed. And I'm proud to say that every single day, what I'm doing right now is what I love to do. It gives me so much joy. Is it challenging? Absolutely. But do I love it? Yes. So, yeah, looking back can be painful. But you're going to look back one day and know that you have accomplished so much. And I'm so proud of you. I'll talk to you guys next time.